Mexico is still reeling from a recent deadly earthquake, but now it has to deal with an active volcano. On Wednesday, the Popocatépetl volcano outside Mexico City spewed flaming rocks to distances of up to 1 kilometre and dumped ash over nearby towns.
Tonight, as tourists and airlines brace for a massive volcanic eruption, more than 90,000 people have now fled Mount Agung's danger zone. Scott Cunningham, Indonesia has upgraded its airport alert.
Emmy, it is at the second highest. That alert aviation warning will only increase if Mount Agung does erupt. Now, with the growing concerns about a volcanic ash cloud forming, experts have told us that if it does eventuate, that will be quite unpredictable and quite sudden. If it happens, there will be considerable impact at airports as well as on flights if Denpasar Airport itself doesn't shut down. Now, even more people have been evacuated in the danger zone surrounding Mount Agung. Many of them are now seeking refuge in camps like these where we are today. Now, extra warning systems have also been put in place inside the exclusion zone.
About the Ring of Fire. It produces 90% of the world's earthquakes. The Ring of Fire includes about 450 volcanoes. Many of them are submarine volcanoes, meaning they're underwater, as are 75% of the world's volcanoes in total. Now, the Ring of Fire is also called the Circum-Pacific Belt. It's the result of plate tectonics. The movement of the plates has created a nearly continuous series of oceanic trenches and chains of volcanoes stretching for 25,000 miles in a horseshoe-shaped pattern from New Zealand past Japan, across the Bering Strait, and down toward the tip of South America. The plate movement also causes earthquakes. Because many of these earthquakes occur in the ocean, the Ring of Fire is also known for tsunamis, produced when the ocean floor is either forced to rise or fall. When a megathrust event happens in this region, the water is displaced and the water pushes ashore. Most tsunamis are only a few inches high, but there are times that that wave and that swell can be as tall as buildings.
sunrise this morning, an ominous sign of what could be to come. Seismic activity on Bali has increased again, tremors becoming more frequent, more than 800 in the past 24 hours. It's here where volcanologists monitor Mount Agung and where they're bracing for its first eruption in more than half a century.
In the past 24 hours, we still recorded a lot of earthquakes. It's more than 800 earthquakes per day, so it's an amazing numbers. It is unprecedented in our records for Agung.
One centre we visited this morning, it became obvious that the women and children were there, but some of the men were actually going back into the risky zone to tend for their animals, in some cases, I guess, their main source of income. So there is still a bit of a tension here in Bali over how this is going to play out. The question, I suppose, really everyone wants answered is if and when an eruption will come. There is no answer.
54 years of silence. This is the edge of the danger zone, and people are still evacuating their animals at the last minute. This is their main source of income, and these farmers are worried that they can't feed their animals when they're staying in the evacuation centers. This team is warning people to leave the area immediately, and they're also looking for animals that are still left behind, like dogs. Hundreds of tremors and quakes have been felt in the last 10 days since the volcano woke up again. Mount Agung is known to be a very explosive volcano. In 1963, pyroclastic material and lava was spewed into the air up to 10 kilometers. Villages were destroyed and more than 1,000 people died. More than 20,000 people are now in these evacuation centers, and many others are now staying with relatives. The Balinese have come out to help those affected by the volcano by bringing clothes and food and other things they need. The tourist areas in the south of Bali are not affected by the volcano, but the authorities believe that if an eruption happens, the airports might be closed, and then tourism is affected. Thousands of people who live on the slopes of the volcano have been forced to leave their homes. But other Balinese have been quick to respond with help. These schoolgirls are bringing clothes, rice and shampoo.
I feel they're my relatives, like my own family. They really need help from us.
More than 75,000 people have moved to safer ground, many now staying in temporary shelters, relying on others for basic needs. Bali's spirit of solidarity at its best. Volunteers are struggling to distribute goods that are pouring in. Nobody knows until when aid is needed for the evacuees, but they hope that this spirit will last. Local activists are taking goods to remote areas which are difficult to reach. Water purifiers, mattresses and food arrive in Pangotan, a small village that has accepted 2,000 evacuees.
This is Bali. Our tradition is to help each other. Their suffering is our suffering. That's our philosophy in Bali.
Local teachers are providing children with learning materials and classes to ensure they don't miss their education. The hospitality is well received.
I feel relieved that I can stay here because there's a lot of aid. People are really nice to us, and if we need something, they try to give it to us.
And it's not just people who are finding refuge here, but also their pets. Birds, cats and dogs have been evacuated too, which makes what could be a long and uncertain wait for a possible disaster a little more bearable.
Campi Flegrei supervolcano lies beneath the Bay of Naples in southern Italy and contains 24 craters along with numerous geysers and vents. According to scientists, there has been a recent decrease in gas pressure at the supervolcano. There has also been a recent increase in the temperature of the supervolcano's hydrothermal reservoir. The combination of these two factors means the magma may be approaching critical degassing pressure, which could lead to volatility and even culminate in an eruption. Campi Flegrei is Italian for burning fields. The supervolcano is 8 miles wide and sits directly under more than 500,000 people. Campi Flegrei spewed ash across Europe for 8 consecutive days when it last erupted in